We're four friends with hot takes on food media.
And we're here to review and recap all kinds of food shows in bite-sized seasons.
Plus, virtual potlucks, cooking adventures, and food memes.
Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
Hey, it's Justine.
And it's me, Meg.
Oh, it's just us two again. We've got...
Just the two of us again.
Amanda is out because when we are recording, it is Easter, and that other British voice you heard in the intro, she is our co-host. She's still out on maternity leave. I feel like people tuning in for the first time or not in a while are like, I heard four voices.
There was a distinctly British voice in that intro.
Yeah. She still exists. We still talk to her.
Yep, she's just, raising a small human. Takes some time.
Teeny tiny itty bitty baby. Enough about us.
Enough about them. Let's talk about us.
Yeah. Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes. This is episode 2 of season 4, where we are covering Stump Sohla. In each episode, Sohla's knowledge and creativity are put to the test in a twisted cooking challenge. Sohla uses a big old game show style wheel to put a spin on a dish she has to create. Will the challenge stump Sohla? So on the menu for today, the 2 episodes we are covering are Soup and Ice Cream on Fire and Scary Candy. But before we talk about those, let's go back to talking about us. What have we been up to culinary-wise or food something? Meg, what do you got?
Well, off to a great start.
I know. They shouldn't. I'm sorry.
It's totally okay. So I have been mixing up a very special cocktail. I had the pleasure of doing a guest blog post for the Whimsy Soul. That's whimsysoul.com. And I got to write about the new Disney Plus show WandaVision and create my own WandaVision-inspired cocktail. So that was a lot of fun. I'm learning more and more how to make my own cocktail recipes. I'm still pretty new at it, but I sort of took the classic Bramble recipe, but made a very important substitution, which is Empress 1908 gin instead of your regular conventional gin. This type of gin has butterfly pea blossom, which makes it sort of like naturally blue purple. Really cool, really pretty color. And then that reacts with acidic ingredients to turn kind of pinky purple. It's a really fun ingredient, especially for cocktails. And I made a few other modifications. So I would encourage anyone who's interested to go check it out and make it. It tasted pretty good, if I do say so myself.
Nice. I think it's awesome. I saw the picture and right away I was like, it's butterfly pea.
It is.
Still sounds weird when you say it, but
it really does. It's PEA. That kind of pea.
Yeah, guys, we're not weird. Come on.
Would be really funny though if butterflies peed this blue purple stuff.
Wow. And we as humans just drank it up.
This is a preview of us talking about eating crickets and bugs later in this episode.
For reals.
So what have you been up to, Justine?
I've made some things. I'm still going back in the kitchen mode, which is good. We had talked about this sort of offline, and something other friends have noticed. Vaccines are happening. We're starting to get out of this depression bubble a little bit, just a little bit. And I think that's affected me to be like, I want to cook more. Nice. I want to live my life again. I don't know. It's just, that's what I'm feeling.
That's good.
So I made Rainbow Plant Life's creamy beans and kale, and I used chickpeas. It's a really cool, easy riff on just a basic chana, but ends up just really savory and creamy. The secret ingredient is miso paste.
Oh, not butterfly pea?
No, sorry. The hint of savoriness. It is very good. Something else I made from So Vegan, they literally just posted this. I needed to make lunch, scrolling my Instagram feed. I saw a lentil ragu. I was like, I have got all the stuff for this. And I've got a spaghetti squash I need to make. So
that sounds good. So if you didn't have spaghetti squash, you would make it with pasta?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's really like a vegan like bolognese. I'm sure it's not like a bolognese because I'm sure
Somewhere LJ's ears have perked up. Did someone
sorry,
say
LJ.
bolognese?
Yeah, if LJ was here, she would tell me how it's not like a bolognese at all, but it's like a vegan bolognese. But with lentils. Guys, it's good. It's good. That's what I've been up to. I also wanted to mention that I posted the reel on Instagram of me making the lobster rolls that we talked about in the last episode. And it like went viral for us. We don't normally get like a lot of views, but like this one instantly got more than 2,000 really quickly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I post videos of me making these things like the vegan lobster rolls and like the black bean brownies. And I think people just watch them because they're like, what you're doing is wrong. I don't like this.
That does seem to be the reaction to the brownies. People were really mean. Not cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're being a lot nicer about the lobster rolls.
Yeah, I only got one person being like, you can't make lobster rolls vegan. No.
Come on, guys. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Whatever, it's getting us views.
Which hopefully translates to downloads.
Woo, 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 woo. Anyway, yeah, that's our Instagram. Go check it out. It's great. Back to our episodes of Stump Sohla. This is where I would normally be like, hey, we're going to talk about soup and ice cream on fire. And this is what it's about. But for some reason, they don't have descriptions for these 2 episodes today.
I think they honestly gave up on descriptions after the first real episode, which was the 7-course convenience store tasting menu.
They do come back, at least
they do.
I think for
But then they
the
go
next
away again
one.
because the last
Okay,
episode
yeah.
definitely doesn't have a description.
So I'm sorry I can't tell you what this episode is about.
This is hurting me, a professional copywriter.
The prompt was that she had to make something healthy. The wheel spin was set it on fire. How do you feel, Meg?
This wasn't my favorite episode. It might be my least favorite, although I'll admit I haven't watched every single Stump Sohla episode yet, so there might be one I dislike more. I don't know. It just felt maybe a little too long to me, and the food that she made, while inventive and really fun to see how her brain works, neither the soup nor the ice cream sounded tasty to me kind of at all. So I think the fact that the foods seemed really unappetizing and unappealing to me, I think that affected how I felt about the episode as a whole. Because even when she's making kind of weird stuff in other episodes, I think, oh man, I'd really like to know what that tastes like. But I kind of don't have any desire to try clam juice with coconut milk. That seems like a really bad combo to me.
I don't know. As a New Englander, I'm kind of down.
I like clams. I
Yeah.
like coconut. I'm just trying to imagine them together, and imagining it seems like a bad combo. And with the ice cream, I don't know. Have you had collagen peptides? Probably
No.
not, since they're not vegan.
They're
That was a dumb
animals.
question.
No, it's
But
okay.
collagen does not taste good at all to me. Even with flavorings, I've had chocolate flavored collagen peptides, I've had vanilla. I think it tastes terrible. I think collagen has a flavor that you just can't disguise. Tastes bad. Unflavored tastes especially bad, but at least you don't get
Ew.
sugar with it. So knowing what collagen peptides taste like and the fact that I don't like it, I couldn't imagine this tasting good. Although she did scrap the collagen peptides in the end for the meringue powder.
I do get what she's going for. She is going for a chowder, but chowders have a lot more layers to them, I believe, than just clam juice plus dairy product.
And the thing is, you know, sweet and savory, it's a great combo. It's a classic combo. But I think coconut milk is a little bit naturally sweet. And then she did end up adding the sweet teriyaki turkey jerky. And those types of sweet with the type of fishy savoriness, I guess I've just never really had that combo. Maybe it's a combo that I would like. But whenever I've had something fishy savory, it's usually mostly just savory and not sweet.
Oh, something that I was excited about. This episode of Stump Sohla was sponsored by Thrive.
So this was something quite fun. Sohla made this challenge even harder for herself in a funny way because she said, I'm going to use only what's in the Thrive box. And Andrew keeps telling her, no one said you had to do that. That's not part of the challenge. But that's something I love about Sohla. She loves a challenge. She likes to push herself.
Yeah.
So I did actually really enjoy that she did that. And it did show her inventive side because she's like, what do I have? What can I make from this? And Andrew said that he purposefully got kind of weird ingredients, not knowing that this was what she was going to do.
Yeah.
So it was pretty impressive to see what she could come up with.
And also, she put it on herself to make the 2 dishes because they were like something on fire. And she went, oh, baked Alaska. Well, I got to do something other than that.
Yes, she also did not have to make more than 1 dish. And she was like, I'm going to do 2. You can't stop me.
I have a Thrive subscription. I'm actually expecting some boxes tomorrow.
Oh, do you like it?
Yeah, this is not a sponsored
Let's
part
try
of
to get
ours.
sponsored by Thrive. Hey, Thrive, if you're listening.
Yeah, I
looking for
use your product.
sponsors.
I like it. I've got, actually, right here, look. Does it look familiar? Seaweed snacks.
Oh, seaweed snacks. Are you going to
For
make a
Thrive.
cracker out of them and then pour booze on it and light it on fire?
No, I'm just going to eat them as they are. So, oh man, there are like so many Thrive products around me right now that I could just pull into frame, but like don't look at my desk how it's covered in snacks. Anywho, I do like that she made that her challenge because it is very Sohla. It's as we know, very, very Sohla to hinder herself even more than she needs to.
Definitely.
And she only made the soup because there was the clam juice there.
It was interesting because I guess I don't really know of any alternative ways to set food on fire besides add alcohol, flambe it. I was curious to know whether there are other methods besides what we've seen because she really uses that one method. She doesn't mention any others. So I'd be curious to know whether there was something else she could have done besides try to float little islands of fire on the soup.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes these episodes, I want a little bit more structure, but sometimes I don't because you just get a raw image of like seeing Sohla's brain work. It's really
Yes.
what the show is.
Oh, you know what? I just remembered. I recently learned that cinnamon is quite flammable. So sometimes sprinkling cinnamon in front of a flame will have this like puff of fire and like a sparkly effect. That would have been cool.
Oh, it would have been really cool.
I guess there wasn't any cinnamon in the Thrive box.
No. But I mean, Sohla, she loves big, big fires.
As she said multiple times, and as we learned in the very first episode when she was cooking over a fire. But Andrew liked the chowder. He thought it was quite tasty. He confessed that he was kind of worried at first when he heard that it was anchovies cooked in more anchovies. Anchovies on top of anchovies. But then he really liked it. I don't know. Sohla didn't seem as proud as Andrew was. She called it weird at some point, but I think ultimately she was okay with how the soup turned out.
Yeah. It's not something she would serve or make on another day. The Baked Alaska had varying degrees of success. Like the protein bar cookie at the bottom, bad.
It was very hard. Sohla said that it was chalky and terrible and tasted like a protein bar, and she tried to get Andrew to stop eating it.
But it really does hit the brief of like healthy.
Yeah, and I think that the meringue that she ultimately went with, so the meringue powder, which was one of the only things not in the Thrive box, she used meringue powder and black pepper in the chowder. Those were the only 2 things. But the meringue powder with the acai powder sounded quite tasty, and it looked good too. I liked the little purpley color to it. And then the ice cream had nut butter and chocolate flavoring. So I think that the ice cream and the whip sounded good.
And again, she was going for peanut butter jelly vibes with those 2, which I like that that's like a good go-to for her of like, oh, I've got nut butter in the ice cream. Why don't I make this sweet jelly-like meringue to go with it?
Exactly. I like peanut butter and jelly. I like that combo. So I do think that I would enjoy the baked Alaska that she made, minus the shortbread.
Yeah, and I do wish she did piping of the meringue.
Yeah, it did look a little sloppy, and it did melt faster than she wanted it to. She was obviously struggling a little bit with getting it to keep its shape.
Yeah, not the best Sohla. I've seen her do better. I don't know. Do you agree that Sohla was not stumped on this?
It's so hard to say, not being able to taste the end product, but just judging from what I saw, I would be tempted to say that she was stumped. A lot of this episode was her messing up and having some missteps and sort of struggling to catch up and fix things. So it did seem like she was at the very least struggling, which maybe that equals, yes, she was stumped. And also, Andrew didn't particularly like the baked Alaska. He said that it didn't reach the dizzying heights of the soup, quote unquote. And in my opinion, the soup itself didn't even sound that good. So I was like, I don't know. This does not sound like a very impressive meal, in my opinion. But again, I didn't get to eat it.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing was she made a really good creamy ice cream out of nut butter, collagen.
Yeah, more collagen. That's the thing. I'm also not convinced I would actually like the ice cream because it also has chocolate flavored protein powder. And protein powder, like collagen, is another thing that I just don't like the taste of at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's interesting that he said it came out like super, super nice and creamy. I don't know. I think that was a success. Everything else, it was just kind of like, I put these two things together and called it soup.
Right. And I set alcohol on fire because alcohol is naturally flammable. I do, however, like that she started from the premise of, she didn't really say this in the episode, but I'm guessing this is what she was thinking. What are foods that would be difficult to set on fire? So obviously ice cream, that's difficult because you have a cold item that you want to keep cold, and combining it with literal flame, that does seem difficult. And it also seems difficult to set soup on fire because similar idea, you've got this wet and you have to set it on fire somehow, and usually flammable things are dry. So I at least appreciated that she started from a starting point of, let's take something that would be surprising to be served on fire.
Yeah, I feel like if she workshopped it more, like if she had like months of planning this thing, like she could come out with like an awesome idea and premise of like, I've got soup on fire, I've got ice cream on fire. And
she'd probably make a soup volcano or something.
Yeah. Oh, I want to see that. Production-wise, I did see like an improvement from the first two episodes, and we get our Sohla clap. Oh,
I love the clap transitions. Yeah.
So that's made its way into the universe. Those dang graphics are still too fast. And I don't know. I think overall I found the episode to be funny.
I did think it was funny, for sure. I did enjoy watching it. I just think that it might be my least favorite so far. That doesn't mean I didn't like it, though. I did enjoy it.
It's not my least favorite. I'd put it in mid-level for me. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite.
I might change my ultimate rankings by the time we get to our digest episode.
Yes. Oh my God, I want to see your tears so bad.
To quote Sohla herself, it doesn't have to be good. It just has to be a thing.
That's us. No, I'm
Pod
kidding.
Appétit catchphrase.
We're good. We're so good.
We are. I'm just kidding. I love us.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we get back, we're going to be talking scary candy.
Spooky.
And we're back. So, episode 4, Stump Sohla, Scary Candy. Again, no description. But this was the Halloween episode. So...
Yes. So as you might have guessed, this aired a few days before Halloween in 2020. So it was seasonally appropriate back then. Not so much now, but hey.
Yeah. I really want to save like how we think the show works and when we do talk digest. But having to make candy and the wheel spin is make it scary. It just seems a little too perfect.
It does seem tailor-made for Halloween. And also looking at all the episodes in retrospect, there's never, as far as I can remember, any episode where they spin the wheel and they say, oh, we already landed on that in a previous episode. So it does seem predetermined to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I was going to say maybe they filmed everything and then decided when to air it, but it's still the combination of candy, which is obviously very Halloween oriented, plus scary. It does seem like a setup.
Yeah. They're not going to do astronaut candy or candy on fire.
Scary Thanksgiving.
Scary Thanksgiving. That's what I want to see. Subvert. Come on. More about our dear Sohla. Only watches scary movies.
I love the combo of Andrew and Sohla because she loves scary stuff. He is terrified of being scared. It's the perfect match. Sohla is positively gleeful of the idea of scaring Andrew. She's looked up his deepest, darkest fears, and she's gonna scare the crap out of him.
It's true. It is quite adorable how jumpy Andrew is.
He's very jumpy. He was scared of a fake cockroach.
Yeah.
Several fake cockroaches.
Yeah.
And they made the set dressing scary. They added skeletons, bats, spiders, jack-o'-lanterns with Andrew and Sohla's face carved into it.
They had some spooky editing.
Very spooky. Yes.
It's fun. It was fun. But I will say, I do feel like the final presentation of things was a bit underwhelming for me.
Overall, I really liked this episode. You were saying with the previous episode that you felt the production was a little bit better. I felt that even more so in this episode, especially as far as carrying the viewer along with what Sohla was doing. I noticed there were many moments where she was narrating to the camera, like, this is what I'm doing. This is the element I'm making for this dish. So it was a lot easier to follow than the bodega episode. So I really appreciated that. I do think the final presentation, they dimmed the lights, which I understand they wanted it to be dark and spooky, but that might have ultimately not been the best choice because it was a little bit difficult to see the final presentation.
Yeah, and I don't know why in my head I thought she was making more, but in the end there was only the alcohol and the different types of candies and the candy apple. I don't know why I was like, at the end I was like, oh, I thought she totally made more things than that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically she did make, let's see here, maybe 5 different kinds of candies. There were the M&Ms, the chocolate-covered granola bars, the bug almond joys, something else. Oh, the cilantro Kitkat. And then there was just the fake cockroach on the unadulterated Hershey's bar.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a lot faster to open and eat everything than to make everything.
Yeah, that's true. I think, yeah, that's what I felt. It's that kind of feeling when you spend like all Thanksgiving Day making food and then eat it in 5 minutes.
You're like, wait a second, was that worth it? Yes, it was.
What did you think of the witch's brew since you're a cocktail queen yourself?
You know what? As much as I enjoy a good mixed drink, this seemed very strong to me. It seemed like 75% bourbon, which I guess isn't the worst thing. And I also really like Lapsang Souchong. Have you had this type of tea before?
No.
It's really good. Sohla describes it as smoky. It is smoked in the process, I believe. So it has a very campfirey smell. I love it. I have a few boxes right now, actually. I would encourage anyone to try that tea if you're interested. So yeah, I would try the witch's brew. I don't know if I'd like it particularly. Anything with dry ice is good, though.
Yeah, definitely. I am not like a strong alcohol person. I'm very light. I'm lightweight. So like, yeah, that looks like it would hurt me immensely. Which is, I mean, it's Halloween. That's the point, right?
That's true. And Andrew needed some liquid courage to try all the scary treats and tricks.
Yes. So the Almond Joy cricket, that looked good.
I do think that looked good. So she basically replaced the almond with crickets and covered it back up with chocolate. I love an Almond Joy. Okay, so should we talk about the bugs a little bit?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I have a question for you. I don't know if you'll be able to answer. Let's imagine for a moment that you weren't vegan. Would you eat a bug?
No, I don't think so. And I have been in like rooms with people on set of something where there was also bug eating similar to this. And it's just, their reactions are always bad. Like, I've seen people eat bugs like this. It's just, no, it looks like a bad time.
I would definitely eat a bug.
You
for
would?
Sure. I don't know. I think Americans are weirdly squeamish about bugs, both about just seeing them and definitely about eating them. I think that if you had a little crispy fried up little critter like this, I don't think you'd really taste much. They say that it's nutty and salty. That's what they use to describe the bugs in this episode. I'm like, I like nutty, salty things. Sure, that sounds good. Give me a bug to eat. And I did have cricket brownies in grade school, but I'll be honest, I don't remember what they tasted like. All I remember is that one of my classmates brought them in and I tried a piece.
I feel like I'd have a little more courage to try a chocolate covered cricket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chocolate covered, all you'd taste is the chocolate. I think it would be totally fine.
Yeah, totally. You just like bite down, get the little crunchy crunch. The thing with people eating bugs are always like, I can feel its little legs in my throat.
See, I think that's psychosomatic. I bet they can't.
You're probably right. But Sohla tempered chocolate to make a nice
Major
finish.
Gourmet makes flashbacks in this episode.
Oh my God, especially with the M&Ms.
Yes.
Oh God. The M&Ms with maggot center, quote unquote maggot. Just when she was doing it and it was failing, I was just like, Sohla, we all saw that episode.
We all know that this isn't going to work. We've seen the Gourmet makes.
Yeah.
She needs to use the pastillage. I don't know how you pronounce it. That candy coating that Claire ended up using for her Skittles.
Yes. Yeah, because just trying to get on a coating one layer at a time doesn't work. We know this. You
can use a rock tumbler. You can use an airbrush. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Yeah, major Gourmet makes vibes with the M&Ms.
So Sohla can temper chocolate quite expertly, but can't make an M&M.
I don't think anybody, if Sohla can't make an M&M, no one can, okay?
That's a good point. It's a very good point. I think that the quote-unquote maggot M&Ms, which were just puffed rice, these sounded really good to me. The maple fondant plus puffed rice. I like that flavor combo. Sounds good. Andrew liked them too.
Yeah, they're the only thing that didn't have like bugs on it for him.
I do feel like this episode had a few minor disappointments that just made me feel a little bit bad for Sohla. Like the M&Ms, they seemed to be going so well and then got to the final stage and they ended up being squishy instead of having that nice crisp candy coating. And I felt kind of the same way about the poison candy apple. The beet caramel looked so good at first. And then it seems like maybe she added a little too much gelatin. It didn't quite get that oozy effect that she was going for. It was more chunky. And same with that beautiful red candy coating on the outside of the apple. It looked great. I love candy apples, but I don't know, maybe it was too humid that day. Maybe they sat out too long. But by the time that they went to eat them, they were just like concrete. They were that candy turned into glue.
Yeah, nobody wants to eat that at a carnival. No,
definitely not. That made my molars hurt just watching them eat that. I imagine my crowns being pulled out, you know.
Your use of descriptive language.
I'm sorry for painting a word picture.
I like the idea of it. I like when she was making them and she had fun being like, ooh,
that was fun.
Blood. Sometimes I feel like one perfected dish is better than 5 sort of average dishes. Part of me just wants to see an episode where anybody could walk away making bleeding candy apples.
Oh, that's a good point. I guess Sohla does tend to get really caught up in having a lot of ideas, and maybe she doesn't edit them down as much as she should. That's a good point. Maybe if she did concentrate on just a couple things, we'd have a really impressive dish at the end.
Yeah, I think that's my overall problem with this episode, that I was just underwhelmed by the things at the end. So I was just, maybe focus, edit yourself.
Yeah, because if you look at what did she really make, the candy apple was something she made from scratch completely, every single ingredient. But all of the candy bars were adulterated versions of the existing candy bar, just like sticking the cilantro to the Kit Kat. Yeah. Adding the crickets to the Almond Joy. She did make the granola bar entirely as well.
Yeah. And she made the M&Ms from scratch. I think maybe the granola bar was the most successful.
It looked good. It looked like a miniature Snickers, which was definitely what she was going for. It tasted good. It had the nice tempered chocolate. It did seem pretty successful. I loved the idea of that trick because
Yeah.
I would definitely have been one of those kids that would be so disappointed to get a granola bar when I think I'm getting a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
What am I saying? I'd be disappointed to get that today as an adult.
Yeah, as a kid. We haven't talked so much about the cilantro Kitkat. So Andrew apparently hates cilantro.
Sola's so devious. So she dries out some cilantro. It's still nice and brightly green. And she makes a sort of confetti out of it and glues it, quote unquote, with some corn syrup to the top of a Kit Kat.
You're still getting a Kit Kat bar. You're just gonna get a mouthful of really fresh cilantro.
I liked this reaction a lot because you can see as it dawns on him that he realizes he's gotten a cilantro Kit Kat, and you can visibly see him die inside at the prospect of having to eat it.
Yeah. But man, he does. I mean, like, he takes a bite.
He does take a real bite, yeah, and he eats it.
Yeah.
Props to him.
He's like, well, I'll throw up later. It's fine. I got this.
I wonder if he's one of those people who has that gene that makes cilantro taste like soap. Maybe that's why he hates it so much. Probably. Again, not my favorite, not my least favorite, but to me, this episode's a little lower in the list for me. I would like this one a lot more if it were about 8 minutes shorter. I do feel like it dragged a little bit, and maybe that is one reason why you felt like she did more, because there was a lot of lead up, and then the reveal was like 2 minutes, maybe 2 minutes of a 37-minute episode. So I feel like it could have been shortened a bit, perhaps. I did enjoy comparing it to the Soup on Fire episode, which we just talked about. I liked that we got to see Sohla be confident in the techniques she was using, and it did feel a little bit more of a return to what I like to see, which is when she explains what she's doing. She has an idea of how it's going to turn out. We get to see a little bit more of her knowledge on display, where I feel like with the On Fire episode, she was just sort of like scrambling to put something together. So I did appreciate that, especially in comparison to the other episode that I had just watched. I like the Halloween theme. I like anything Halloween.
Yeah.
So I guess this is probably more in my top episodes for me. I liked the concept. I liked the Halloween-y spookiness of it all. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's a favorite or not.
Would you want to make anything from this episode? You're like, get me some bugs.
I would like to eat the M&Ms if someone would make them for me, although I don't think I would make those myself. I mean, the Witch's Brew seems the most approachable. Would you make the granola bars?
It did actually look good. So I remember, what was there, like peanut butter and stuff? There was the honey in it, though, right? Am I thinking of the right thing?
Do you think, yes, it had hot honey, I think she called it, because she heated it up.
Yeah, a few vegan swap outs, but I think mostly it looked pretty good as a recipe.
Was she stumped? No.
Yes. No.
No?
Yes, no.
You think she was stumped?
TBD. No, on a lot of things she wasn't stumped. On some things she was. But overall, no.
I think she fulfilled the brief of making candy scary.
Yes.
And she did make some things, or at least scary to Andrew. I don't know if I would be scared by these.
That's true. She did accomplish scaring Andrew. The real brief. Well, that was a stirring conversation as always. But now we're going to see what's on our back burner for today. And ladies and gents and those in between, we are going to talk about yet another show on our back burner. Rosanna Pansino has a new show on HBO Max called Baketopia. And I was definitely down to watch it. Meg watched one or two.
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Awesome. Let me tell the listeners about the show. Rosanna Pansino creates challenges that bakers must complete. In each episode, bakers must fill their carts with ingredients to build cakes and desserts. The winner will receive $10,000 from Rosanna and her cake council. The first episode featured cocktail-inspired cupcakes and island jelly cakes.
Flashbacks to Great British Bake Off.
I know. But you know what? To me, what I feel about this show is A, it's the opposite of Nailed It. And B, it's like Great British Bake Off if every contestant was Kim Joy. I like the show.
So how many episodes did you watch? It sounded like you binged it to me, but maybe you didn't.
I didn't finish it, but I watched a good chunk, maybe 6.
Oh, wow. So I really enjoy the 30-minute format. If there's anything I've learned about myself, is that I have a short attention span, I guess. I like shows that are 30 minutes. I really, really like Rosanna Pansino. I'm glad to see that she is getting more opportunities. For anyone who doesn't know, she's a very popular and successful YouTuber, and her YouTube channel is baking primarily, but lots of different types of cooking.
Yeah, she started out when she was younger doing nerdy bakes, and that's her first cookbook.
I love her nerdy bakes. She'll bake things from video games, nerdy cartoon shows, things like that. I really love her as a host. I feel like this was a natural evolution for her. She's one of those personalities where I guess objectively I could understand why maybe not everyone would like her. She's very high energy, but I feel like it's all very genuine, in my opinion. I don't know her, obviously, but it just feels authentic to me. It feels like she really does act like that. She really does talk like that. This is her natural level of excitement. Like, she's not putting it on for the camera. I just feel like this is her personality. This is naturally how she would react in these situations. She's very upbeat and fun and funny. She has an adorable voice. I just love her. I loved seeing her get her own show.
Yeah, I want to be her.
Oh, adorable outfits too. I love the wardrobe they put her in for this show.
God. My adorable wardrobe does not match her adorable wardrobe. And, oh my God.
I wish I could pull off that puffy orange sleeve dress that she wore in the first episode.
For her personality, what you were saying, I do think that it's genuine. When I worked on a daytime talk show, to not be named, she was a guest for one episode. And, you know, she pretty much was this person on and off camera. Also, fun fact, Donal Skian was a regular chef guest on this daytime talk show that I worked on. So it was so hilarious to see him. I was like, Donal!
Yes, he's one of her cake council, along with Timbo, the baker. I think I'll be watching more. It's been a while since I've watched an American reality competition show, and it was a little bit like Whiplash coming off of Great British Baking Show, because it doesn't have that sort of frenetic energy. I feel like on stage they were like, you guys, you got to really react to everything Rosanna says. Like, you clap, you do a dance, you literally dance mid-bake. It just felt a little bit too heavy-handed production-wise, and of course they're competing for a cash prize, which they don't have in the Great British Baking Show. I don't know, it's just a different vibe. It was a little bit higher energy for me, I guess.
Yeah, I do like, though, that the Cake Council always presents like a positive aspect. Like, they're always like, their judging is never like mean.
That's true. I do like that it doesn't have that mean aspect that we do see a lot in other American reality TV shows.
Yeah, they're always like, oh, I hope this person can get this done. And
yeah.
I will say something that struck me right off the bat was just like the multiculturalism of the first episode.
They are obviously making an effort to have a lot of representation and diversity in the show in all aspects, which I think is great. I really have to applaud them for doing that.
Lots of diverse casting across the board. And it continues on for the episodes as far as I have gotten to.
Yeah, that's good. That's great to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found it to be a pleasant show. I think the bakes are cool. I like that they actually get them done. I compared it to Nailed It, and I actually think one of the producers like produces both the shows, Nailed It and Baketopia. Nailed It, they always set them up to fail. It's like, here's this giant thing you have to recreate, even though you have no skills in particular sculpting, airbrushing, molding, artistry. Whereas these people actually do, and they just like show it off what they can do. One of the aspects of the show that I'm not quite getting, which is weird in the brief, is that they're quote unquote following or setting trends.
Yes. I agree. I think that the show would be better and simpler if they just didn't try to go with that element. It's part of the intro of every show. They say, oh, I'm Rosanna Pansino and I make these viral YouTube videos and we're going to elevate these online trends and start our own trends. It does feel a little bit forced to me. I understand that that's the hook. That was probably their elevator pitch or whatever. But it doesn't really translate. It feels forced. It's like anytime anyone says, let's make this go viral, it's like, well, you've demonstrated that you don't understand how virality works.
Yeah.
And it just feels like that whole show has that vibe to it.
And honestly, the show doesn't need it.
It really doesn't. It would stand on its own without that concept. It would just be like, here's a fun competition baking show.
Yeah. So if viewers want to watch this and don't have HBO Max, the first episode is on Rosanna Pansino's YouTube channel.
Nice.
So you can watch for free.
Nice. Yeah, check it out.
Okay, so that wraps up our show for today, except we've got some shout outs. As we mentioned earlier, I had a video about my black bean brownies, and I did ask our lovely fans if they would ever eat them, and our lovely fans are so nice, unlike TikTok people who said they looked like poop. So we got yeses from Erica_Shouty, Design My Face, Lucy_Podcastva, Cat Lily Cooks, and In Her Shoes Podcast. Would eat, would make. Mary left us a comment about Meg's crispy glazed tofu, saying, Meg actually made tofu taste good? Tofu?
My mom might not be the biggest tofu fan.
To which I was like, Mary, you can make tofu taste like anything. That's the joy of tofu. And seriously, those crispy glazed, that looks great.
Oh, it was so good. I've made that 3 times now, and I have another block of tofu, so I'm sure that will be 4 times very soon.
The Edmonton tourists encouraged us to become a James McAvoy fan cast.
I mean, they're asking for it. I have to deliver.
Yeah, you just have to drop a James McAvoy fact in every episode now.
It would not be a hardship.
And thank you to Mrs. Casper for giving Amanda some food movie recommendations for her mom's food film festival. One last shout out for marvelous_Marianne writing in, I am almost done catching up with your backlog, but I jumped ahead to listen to this week's episode because I love Stump Sohla so much. Great episode. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the rest of the series.
Yay, I loved reading that comment. It's always really exciting to hear people looking forward to our content being like, oh, I have to listen to Stump Sohla. So good pick, everyone. Good job choosing Stump Sohla for this season.
Yay, yes, it was all the fan vote. And we also wanted to watch it too. And talk about it. Well, thanks everyone for getting in touch with us on social media and sharing what you thought of our episodes and food pics and memes and James McAvoy. We don't have a review to share, but we would love it if you could leave us one. So leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and we'll read it right here and appreciate it. It helps us out. So thanks in advance.
Yeah.
Next episode, we are covering the next 2 episodes of Stump Sohla, Food Illusions Movie Snacks, and Astronaut Thanksgiving.
It'll be Thanksgiving time in April, May. Whatever.
Perfect. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
We'd love to hear from you, so find us on Twitter and Instagram at pod_appétit.
And on Facebook at Pod Appétit Podcast.
You can also email us at podappetitpodcast@gmail.com and find all of our episodes on our website, podappetitpodcast.com.
Hey, listener.
Come closer.
No, really. Closer.
Just a little bit closer. That might be too close. One step back. There.
Okay.
Perfect. You're
Yes.
perfect.
How do you feel about murder?
How do you feel about spooky shit?
And how do you feel about coffee?
If you feel warmly toward any of these, then join us every Saturday on The Dark Roast.
Join us, where our souls may or may not be darker than the coffee we drink.
We can be found on Podcast, Stitcher, oh my fucking god.
We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, and Google Play.
Thank you.